Rob.
So remind me, whose mic am I controlling in here? And you have one of them in your room?
Yeah, I've got Melissa's, and you have Brent's.
All right. So we have Melissa and Brent, a.k.a. Scooby and Shaggy. Who's who?
We don't know.
You
We don't know anymore.
From Sack Spirit, or playfully called the Ghost Whisperers. Welcome for our Halloween show.
Thank you. Happy
you.
Halloween.
Good morning.
Before we go any further, because Dawn always says, one of the few things Dawn says that's correct about broadcasting, is it used to drive her nuts when she was a listener and she would listen to shows where they just assume everybody knows what the hell you're talking about, all these inside jokes. So the maggots, the P1 maggots, will have to deal with repetition for just a moment. Mm-hmm. When you're not doing your real jobs, which we'll talk about later, when you're ghost whispering,
Yeah.
how do you guys describe what it is you do?
Well, so basically the long and the short of it, we are paranormal investigators. So we document the unexplained, hauntings, activity, and we do this with a scientific approach and a spiritual approach, and we also conduct full house blessings and readings.
And Brent, you're more the science part of it, would you describe it as?
Yeah, I'm the science nerd of the group, definitely.
And Melissa, do you have a gift? Is that how you describe it?
Yeah, I have a very distinct spiritual gift that I'm still kind of working on and learning about and trying to understand. But oddly enough, I am equally nerdy as well. I love the scientific part of it. I know people, think, okay, well, she talks to the dead, so that's your lane. That's good, which is great. But I do love the documentation and science part too.
So does Halloween have a special meaning to you guys, or is it just another day?
I like Halloween. It's fun. I love candy, but
you don't wake up scared or more in touch, or are there more spirits today than other days that are communicating with you guys in any way?
Some people say the veil is thinner at this time of year, which maybe there is some truth to that. But honestly, they bother me every day of the year, so it doesn't really matter. It's kind of irrelevant. But my favorite holiday is actually Christmas.
Is the you talk about the spirits bothering you? We've talked about this a little before when you've been on. Can you turn that off? Can you make them go away? Can you have fun and not be bothered by these feelings that you get?
To some degree, yes, but I can't turn it off. I can turn the quote-unquote volume down, and I've gotten so much better at my grounding skills. Brandon knows a lot about this, the whole Reiki and energy and that type of thing. And I've gotten really, really good at just putting myself in kind of a bubble. So, yeah, I can actually do things and go places and not be overwhelmed.
Is it like similar to how parents drown out kids when they don't want to hear them?
I think so, probably, yeah.
What would you say to people that say you're just goddamn insane?
Oh.
You're just nuts, or you're making this up. You're either making it up, or you're hearing voices in your head, and you should be on high volumes of Prozac.
Oh yeah. So those type of folks, it's fine what they want to think. We've got so much scientific backing to what I have felt, and so much validation for what I've picked up. There's no quantifiable way to explain it, and it cannot be dismissed with simple psychological study. I studied psychology, and I've been vetted both by a psychologist and a parapsychological study to prove what I'm feeling and picking up. We've done the homework and the science. So if the skeptics just don't want to believe it, I'm okay with that. I embrace that, and I love that too. I'm not gonna judge them. That's just where they're at.
Yeah, when we have seen you guys out, like you guys were at the IT premiere, and so like when I've seen you out and about, I do wonder when Rob was bringing up, like, oh my gosh, are you just like seeing people everywhere and spirits everywhere? And to be in public, I never really thought about it like when you're here, but then seeing you outside of here, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, like sometimes is it like you don't want to leave the house?
If I'm having a particularly stressful day, I am a natural introvert, so I do try to isolate sometimes a little bit, but you can't hide at home all the time. It's just not practical. So I do try to get, out and expose myself to more energy, and I've just gotten better at it. It's just practice makes perfect. It's not something you just learn overnight.
Well, so how do you guys answer people that see that you're clearly getting rich off of this, and you're using your gift and these tinker toy things that you bring along with you, Brent, clearly to fund your lavish lifestyle? That's the problem here.
We have a lavish lifestyle.
I know.
Did you know that? No. Yeah, we work on donation only, so there is no profit, and 100% of donations go back into either getting more cleansing supplies, which are very expensive, or batteries, which would go through quite a bit, or any of that kind of stuff. We're not turning a profit on this. The only place where there's a profit in the paranormal is, TV, books, merch, whatever. It's not in the actual helping of the people. So,
And in fact, you guys have quote unquote real jobs
we do.
that have nothing to do with being paranormal in any way. That's how you support your lifestyle.
Correct.
Which
Yeah.
is which you would not describe as lavish. Your lifestyle.
No, just normal. We're both government analysts, so
Oh.
we I know.
Government
Man.
work.
Wow.
I know.
Oh, so you have today off, right? It's like a holiday, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's my paranormal holiday.
What about you? Because you alluded to him. What is that show? Is it Ghost Hunters? Is that a bunch of crap? I mean, do you look at that and go, "This is giving me a bad name," or
There's a lot.
No, not really. I don't
There's a
think it's-
lot of them on the air, and I think that some of them might rub me the wrong way. Some of them I think are more invested in the process. We're sort of partial to the Dead Files, because Amy Allen has been your mentor and
Yeah.
your tutor. I really do like the way that the Dead Files does it. They keep the two of them separate, and Steve DeShavi, he's a New York homicide detective, and he does the homework and finds the history. And on a separate date from that, Amy Allen does the walkthrough of the location. They cover up all the pictures, cover up all the religious items, so she can't get any cues. And the two,
smart.
and,
They do it well.
and it merges up. So
it looks like that's on the Travel Channel. It's called
It
the
is.
Dead
Yeah.
Files. Would you guys ever do something like that? Like if you were approached, would you let cameras follow you around and do all that?
Maybe yes, maybe no. It
Wait, you're
depends.
saying maybe yes, maybe yo, Brent. You're shaking your head yes.
Well,
It's all
definitely.
about
Well,
it.
she's been on a TV show.
yeah, I've guest spotted on a Travel Channel program before, and it's fine and it's fun, but it's really hard to get into that, and it doesn't initially pay well, and to give up my actually comfortable benefit, state jobs, they have great benefits.
Right,
So to
yes.
give up that, it would have to be very, very lucrative.
And I would add to that, we're very welcome to cameras following us around, as long as they want to document the actual process and what it is that we do. If I was ever told by a TV crew, okay, we want you to manufacture evidence, so this will look really good on
jeez.
camera, we would tell them absolutely not.
So you want them there to show this is as transparent as we can be.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Melissa being on TV, we got this email, one of many, but this was the most coherent or somewhat intelligent
Oh,
one.
dang it. Rob.
This one is from Amy.
Hi, Amy.
She wrote last night, red@radradio.com, said, OMG, I just saw Melissa from Sac Spirit on the news.
Yay!
And she had your guys' limited edition Rad Radio patriotic water bottle sitting on the counter.
Oh, my
Smart.
I love the little plug back at you
That's
guys.
amazing.
Nice. And that was that intentional product placement, or did a spirit place it there?
Really?
Well,
Inspiration.
you answer it yourself.
Now, speaking of that, I was talking to Brandon an hour ago because I was trying to figure out in terms, and we already have people calling, and you're welcome to
good.
call at 888-989-9011. We have people writing, but I'm wondering, what are the limitations in terms of what you can or can't do, or what you do or don't want to do? I mean, can somebody call in and say, hey, is my dead grandfather behind me? I mean, are you going to be able to connect with him over the phone like that?
Maybe yes, maybe no.
Really?
Usually, what I tend to like to do is they just email me a photograph that I can see their face clearly, their eyes clearly, and then typically I can read their aura. But to actually prep for a full scale reading where I want to really feel everything, I sit there and meditate on and stare at their darn picture for like a half an hour.
Any drugs involved when you're doing that?
Absolutely not.
What for people that don't, what do you mean read an aura? What does that mean?
So it is a little abstract, and not a lot of people will get it, especially on the skeptical side, which is fine. There,
Good, I'm glad. Thank you.
it's no worries at all. But it's basically just the colors that surround a body. It's aura energy. It's just energy from your body. I happen to be able to perceive it. I don't know why I have this ability, but I conducted about 22 of these mini aura readings at the Spirit Halloween store recently, and we donated everything to charity. And
You did 22. I think we got an email from every single person
Oh.
that you did a reading for.
Yeah.
They were endless.
yeah, and so people were happy and it worked, but that's why I'm saying it takes a few minutes to do that. Doing just a quick, hey, is so-and-so here? I can't guarantee. I don't control the other side, so there's no way to guarantee what comes through and what doesn't. And really, I like to have a lot of good focused meditation time.
Phone number is 888-989-9811. Good morning, Bill. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Hi.
My wife died in February. She died of kidney failure. She was only 44. The last 2 years were kind of hard. I took care of her, and And, the last thing she said was it's going to be okay. But, sometimes it doesn't feel okay.
Oh, sweetie.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm just curious. Is she okay?
Death is absolutely not the end. It's just you're losing the body, but the soul very much continues and cascades on. Her end of her physical life does not change the relationship. It does not end your connection. She'll probably continue to harass you and tell you what to do for a lot longer. You may just not hear it verbally anymore, but you may be able to feel it. But you have to take time to process the grief.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Now, for people that are listening, let me ask some clarifying questions. That to me sounded like you were giving him a very general, caring answer based on your experience.
Yeah,
You are not claiming that you were connected to his dead wife.
No, I wanted to provide comfort based on what I know. Now, if he needs a more in-depth connection, we can talk about that.
Now that we have this connection with you guys, I feel like a lot of those shows do a disservice to those that really have a gift because everyone expects on-demand answers.
Yeah, it's not how it works.
Right,
Not how this works.
and like hearing people that are genuine, it's like you're either going to get something or you're not, and I don't control it. Whereas the other ones come off as like, they're in charge and they're going to get something. And I think the expectations of people can be unfair to those that are really gifted.
It's very unfair. I tell people that all the time is, I don't control the other side. And any clairvoyant, medium, empath that says, oh, I can give you everything, please run from them.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I get protective of for your guys' sake, regardless of how my level of skepticism at times with everything. The fact that you clearly aren't scam artists, when I see those that come off as that, I say, see, you're making Brent and Melissa look bad.
Yep.
And so I want, when we do something like that call, I want people to understand you're not claiming that you're talking to his wife. You're giving him general comfort and aid.
Yeah.
But if you talk to him or if you had a whole session with him, you might be able to then figure out if she's around.
Possibly, yeah. And I don't like to just quickly, just like you said, on demand, do that. I want to give people an actual full reading experience where they can get the healing that they need and that they deserve. I don't want to just, carpet bomb them with, random stuff. But when somebody is obviously upset, comfort is key.
Do you ever get nothing? Do you ever do a reading, a session, or anything? And go, I don't know. I got nothing from you.
I don't know. I mean, I usually try to set aside time. If people just on the spot say, hey, suddenly just give me this, then I'll say, no, thank you. That's not what's going to work for me right now.
You're not a cocktail party trick. I can't just take you around from person to person and you'll right away be able to say, oh.
I mean, I can read auras pretty quickly on most people. That's something that's quick for me. But otherwise, the rest of it, no, I don't like to do a disservice to my own gift, and energetically, that would take a lot.
What is this thing that was mentioned a few weeks ago? I think it was after the IT premiere. Something about do you see the presence of dead people around my wife or something like that?
I have been feeling a particular spirit around her, and I don't know who it is, and I don't even want to begin to guess. It could be an ancestor, and that's something that comes through in readings a lot, like a great, who, she may not even know who it is.
But you see it just by, how many times have you even been around Christina? Was it just that one time?
Just the one time, but I've felt it, and what started it was this weird dream. I'm sorry, I had a dream about your wife. But
a lot of people do.
But
looking at you, Brent.
It started with that, and then I just thought, well, was that just a dream? And then when I met her, I was like, oh, I kind of feel like maybe that's something, but I haven't really explored it. And if it's something she wants to explore later, that's fine. I can't really promise that it's going to make any sense, so that's why I really haven't fully approached her about it, because I don't have any promises. I felt a particular individual. I could see bits and pieces of their looks and their personality, but I didn't get much, and I don't like to give people garbage. I want to really be able to provide them something that makes sense.
So you don't make a habit of just walking up to people and saying, I know I'm going to sound nuts here, but I'm seeing this presence around you. It has to be somewhat mutual.
Usually, yes. I think only time I've ever done that was in a nail salon one time, and it was kind of strange. And I didn't mean to, but she seemed receptive. Like they were talking, the subject matter was fitting. I said, "So how do you feel about mediums?" And she's like, "Oh no, I'm really into it." so that there was that opening. I'm like, well, I happen to be a sensitive. I'd like to tell you what I see. I literally described her aunt to her, and she was freaked out, and but in a good way.
Oh my
She
God,
came.
that's awesome.
I saw her 2 weeks later, and she's like, "Here's the picture of her," and I was like, "Oh wow!" Like that it validated for me. It actually matched. I was like, I thought I was bonkers, and apparently I wasn't. So it felt good.
And then where do you come in, Brent? At what point do you swoop in with all your gadgets and cords and batteries and things?
No, that's when we get more into the investigative side of things. I've actually had to stop her at restaurants in the early days of Spirit. I had to stop her. It's like, no, don't go over to them. That they're just enjoying their dinner. But his dead brother's sitting by him. Let them enjoy their meal.
We should mention, by the way, you guys are
great.
kind of close.
We're pretty close, all right.
We are, and she's the love of my life.
Are you guys married? You guys married?
We'll get there.
We're not there yet.
Hello.
How long you been together?
Don't even tell Dawn that.
I know. I'm getting a sense. I'm getting a feeling that something from over here on this
Yeah,
side of the room.
I'm
Right.
sensing something needs to happen.
We've been together 5 years, and friends for 6 total. So we got together a year after, which was a good foundation. We're just, we're building our empire together.
They're just too sweet for me to give them garbage.
We met doing this.
I was going to ask how. Okay, so you were both paranormal.
Yeah, we started with some other teams in Sacramento, and it didn't take us very long to realize, what, there was 4 of us, the same 4 that still make up this group, and we got together and we said, we think we can do this right. We think we can do it the way we think it should be done, and we're going to form our own group, and we've just been going nonstop ever since.
We got an email here from Lupe who says, "Damn
Hola.
it,
Brandon's part Mexican.
damn it, guys, my allergies kicked in after that call. I don't even want to imagine ever losing my wife. Love you guys, and thanks for everything you do." Let's go to Sandy. Good morning, Sandy.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Sandy.
My husband was hit and killed Friday by a hit and run driver.
Oh my gosh.
And
sorry.
Melissa, I actually ran into you at Safeway on Arden Way.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember you.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
What do you mean you remember her?
Did you run recently?
I remember. So we had an appointment booked, and then she had to reschedule. And
Because my husband was in the hospital.
yeah, because your husband was in the hospital, and then I saw her shopping at Safeway, like a few weeks, actually about a month or so ago, and we were talking. Your husband was with you there. I remember, obviously he was.
Yeah,
with
the
us. big
guy.
Yeah. Oh my God,
Jeez.
Sweetie, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry for your loss.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's awful.
Sorry.
Do you guys have something set up already in the future? Or?
We
We
haven't.
are going to
Yeah,
now.
we haven't rescheduled.
Okay.
We needed to
jeez.
reschedule. So, a word of advice about this, because it's such a recent loss. I like to wait a few months after such a tragedy because the emotions are too raw, the energy is too fresh, and letting his energy do what it has to do in transitioning. But we can look at getting you something set up in the next few months. Just you need some time to heal. Clearly, obviously.
How do you triage this stuff? Because the last I've heard through emails, you and I haven't talked about this yet, is you're booked out into November of 2020.
Give or take, maybe a little into December now, 2020.
Okay, so
Wait till after today.
Right.
and what happens when something comes along that maybe grabs you like in a more powerful way, and you feel like I need to prioritize?
So
this?
what I've done for next year, I didn't do a very good job on the calendar this year. I just shoved everybody in and tried my best.
Giggity.
Damn it. Oh, okay. So,
Oh my gosh.
so for next year, I did leave a few purposeful gaps in the schedule to be filled.
Oh,
jeez.
we can do this all day.
The spirit in my
They
pants.
could. Oh my Lord.
You made her snort.
Oh, Lord, okay. So there's room in the schedule for where if an emergency comes up, I can actually have a little more flexibility next year for the real true dire emergencies. So I'm getting smarter at my calendar.
And what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? Is it through Facebook?
Facebook is really good. We also have our website, sackspirit.com, but Facebook is, a real fast, rapid way. It's facebook.com/sackspirit. We're also on all the other social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel called Maxim Mysteries.
You're on Twitter. I'll have to follow you now that I'm on Twitter.
Oh,
do you,
that's
do you
right,
send out
Rob.
twits?
I followed you.
Oh,
the
did
other
you
day.
find me?
I did.
I know I've gone up from like the 1 to like I think yesterday I was at 14 and I haven't even given out like.
Oh, you're gonna do a Jennifer Aniston. You're gonna break the.
Oh, yeah.
Sphere. You will.
yeah,
Let
I'm
people
sure.
know.
I'm sure it'll be
Are you kidding me?
that important.
Oh yeah.
Hello there. Oh, you're gone. Goodbye. All right. Let's try Liz. Good morning, Liz.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, it was funny though, because I called to find out if he had any kind of sense about my mom being around, and I realized that she actually passed away 6 years ago today.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And it hadn't occurred to me until I was on the phone just now that was the case. So I wonder if she kind of sent me to give you a call.
Well, I mean, divine inspiration.
Is that how that works? Is that legitimate in your experience? That's all? Because some of us would go, well, that's just your subconscious.
Yeah, it could very well be
Idiot.
subconscious. It could be a lot of it could be a lot of things. But
Man.
I do find that souls do try to send us little signs and symbols. It happens.
We got this email. This comes up a lot, and this is a topic that a lot of times does stop the show and make even the most skeptical amongst us go, the kids.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
we do have a general theory on the show that we all agree, and I don't know if you're on board, so we'll check first. Animals and kids, to me, and certainly to Brandon and Dawn, seem to be much more open to these, whatever these presences are. Now, people will say with kids, oh, it's their imagination, they're making it up. And sometimes that's true, obviously, right? We have to account for the fact that kids are little lying bastards. But kids and animals are also, this is our theory, they're innocent. They're not soiled.
Just pure of heart.
And so they might be more open. Is that legit, do you think?
I do agree with that.
A good
Yes,
theory? Okay.
I agree.
So here's what Shannon wrote. She says, I've always felt sensitive towards spirits and energy, not to the level of Brandon or Scooby and Shaggy. But my 5-year-old daughter has recently told me she is hearing voices. She says it's a demon named Dev, but they sound like me and my husband. At what point should we be concerned and not just chalk it up to childhood imagination?
You can be concerned now. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's not well. I'll have to look that one up in the book.
There's a book.
Oh, there's a book.
We actually have something called the Encyclopedia of Demons and Demonology. I found it at I think I either got it at Borders or Barnes and Noble. And
Back when those existed.
right, yeah.
Right?
Would you just go to the page, the D's, and look up DEV?
Well, now it's not going to list everything, but it's just a general reference. But it has come in handy on investigations before. I would say to the emailer, just cover all the bases. Obviously. Have the child checked out medically. Make sure there's nothing medically wrong. Of course, cover all the bases.
Start there.
Yeah, but if it does appear to be something that he or she is communicating with, then you start to ask questions. Yeah.
I just did a quick Google search for names related to Dev in the supernatural community, and I came up with something that says Deva, Daeva, is an Avestan language term for a particular sort of supernatural entity with disagreeable characteristics. In the Gathas, the oldest text of the Zoroastrian canon, the Devas are gods that are to be rejected.
Well, that doesn't sound great.
No, that's not positive at all.
Children, depending on their age, they're not going to be Googling this stuff. If they're teenagers, then sure.
So how do you advise people where the balance is between the kids making it up or the kids got a hyperactive imagination and this is something real?
It's typical investigative or psychological vetting. I mean, do they repeat the same story? Does the story stay consistent throughout? Do they repeat the same? No, this is what they said. This is what I saw. Does anything in their story change? If it doesn't, start to listen to them. It's hard for kids, and it's hard for them to feel safe to express when they sense something. So you do want to trust your child and at least give them a voice.
And I'm also thinking, didn't the kids say it's mom and dad or something?
She says it's a demon named Dev, but they sound like me and my husband.
I mean, are you and your husband having problems? Like, is it like an angry household? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, angry households can do that, but it's also that if it's mimicking the voice of a living human, it's not usually good.
Ew.
Or is the kid just hearing voices that go bump in the night when you're doing the old mattress mambo?
And then is it the same process when you have kids who claim they're seeing things? Because that's another one we get a lot of. Seeing, what was that one a couple months ago? They keep seeing somebody at the stairs waving at them, things like that. And again, it's the same. It's like, oh, yeah, sure you do. Or maybe they do.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to outright discount it, because if it's really happening to them, you want to provide them proper spiritual help. And if it's something that is psychological, you too want to make sure that you're paying attention to your child. Don't ignore them.
I thought that our lab Hank, because he was just barking and barking and barking, right? And it was at the TV, and I was like, and I realized, oh yeah, it's not even on, and you're barking at your shadow. But I'm like, oh my God, what does he see? Like,
Himself.
His reflection.
I come around the corner and I'm like, oh, just himself.
No self-awareness.
There's nothing there.
Hello there, Mark. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I had a quick story to relate. A while back, I had found the remains of a murdered person who had been missing for a short while, few weeks. I was wondering, does that help bring some relief to that person who was murdered, that someone has found them instead of them just continuing to just be missing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It absolutely brings them closure. A lot of times what we find with spirits is that they want their story told. They want the living to know what happened to them. And so absolutely, by doing the right thing and bringing the family closure and getting essentially justice for that person, it brings that soul enormous peace. Yes, you did a great service.
So is that soul? Is it would be in that process, that purgatory time? Is it tortured? Is it screaming for help? Is it haunting people? I mean, what is it doing?
Not necessarily. I mean, it obviously brings a soul a lot of peace to have, be laid to rest properly. But it doesn't necessarily have to be anguish. We do find, though, when it is a tragic death, or if it is a missing persons case, that I've worked a couple of those, and if the body is never found, there can be some angst, both from the soul and obviously from the living family.
Phone number is 888-989-9811. We got this email from Marlon.
Hi, Marlon.
RAD@radradio.com says, my mom can see spirits and I am able to hear them. Will my daughter be able to sense them ever throughout her life?
It's potentially possible. We have found a correlation between sensitives and families, that it sort of, quote unquote, runs in the family. So there's a possibility, but there's no guarantee.
Now, and this is Brent and Melissa from Saxbury, and you guys did would you call it a reading of our building, or
an investigation?
Yeah, we did a full investigation.
We have our own studio here. Now that you're back, are you feeling anything different? Anything new? Is the corn farmer that was haunting us back? Is he over my shoulder?
It wasn't haunting.
Yeah,
is Dawn's dad's truck in the backyard? I mean,
probably
what?
not. There's still energy here, but I don't feel like I don't feel anything negative. And that corn farmer, he was really, really nice.
Oh,
yeah. He just wanted his story told. It's not that he left. He just doesn't need to bother you guys as much, because now he's been heard from. So he's like, oh, okay, good. They know I'm here.
The two kooks were reporting yesterday that they're starting to hear noises again. Like there's maybe a new presence, or he's back looking for his corn or something like that.
It's probably the same spirit, and just people get more aware of it when you're talking about it, thinking about it. If you're tuning your brain back into it, it could happen. We have a new member that occasionally works in the building who has also admitted that they have experienced sounds, or even Dawn, did you say that they said the lights were turning on and off?
Well, so it's like one of the interns and she called me to be like, got a lot of work done, got it all done, was just going to do extra, but wanted to get out of the building because was hearing that same, the door opening like I did with it. I was like, oh, hello? Yeah. And then she's like, and I could swear that I had turned a light off, and when I did a check again, a light was on, and I was like, yes, you can go. And she believes in this stuff, but she wasn't aware of the story. And I said, oh, yeah, it's just this farmer. He's fine. I said, but it could be a little weird at first. Yeah, he just wants to introduce himself to it. Exactly. I'm like, maybe they need to meet. Your new blood, yeah. Yeah.
It's faulty wiring and wind is actually what it is. We'll take a break. Our phone number is 888-989-9811. We're with Brent and Melissa from Saxbury. Back after this.